Your employer puts $3,200 into your retirement account every year. They call it a match. They call it free money. Your manager mentioned it in the interview like it was a gift they were handing you across the table, and every financial guide you have ever read repeats the same line in the same urgent voice. Always get the full match. Never leave free money on the table. So, you contribute enough to capture all of it every year, and you feel responsible for doing so. You did the thing you were told was smart. Here is the part nobody says out loud. There is a real chance you will walk away from this job having kept none of it. Not most of it. Not half. None. At 3 years in, that is $9,600 walking out the door with your own name still printed on the statement. Money that grew for years and then simply left again, without you ever spending a single dollar of it. Here is exactly how that happens, and why the people it happens to almost never see it coming until the money is already gone. Start with what the match actually is, because the words used to describe it are doing quiet work. When your employer offers to match your 401k contributions, they are agreeing to deposit money into your retirement account based on how much you contribute. A common structure is a full match on the first 3% of your salary and a half match on the next 2%. On a $64,000 salary, contributing 5%, that is roughly $3,200 a year of employer money landing in your account on top of your own. That number is real. It appears on your statement. It has your name on it. It grows with the market alongside your own contributions, and for the first stretch of your time at the company, everything the financial guides promised appears to be true. You are getting free money. The balance on the screen proves it. You tell yourself you made the responsible choice, and, on the surface, you did. You would have been foolish to turn down a dollar-for-dollar match. The advice was not wrong. It was just incomplete in a way that matters enormously. Look closely at that statement, and you will find two separate columns most people never read. One is labeled Your Contributions. The other is labeled Employer Contributions. They are tracked apart from each other, and they are tracked apart for a reason that will cost some people thousands of dollars. Your own contributions are yours the instant they land. The law requires it. Every dollar you personally put in is 100% vested from day one, meaning it belongs to you completely and permanently, no matter what happens next, no matter when you leave, no matter why you leave. The employer match does not work that way. The employer match is subject to something called a vesting schedule, and the vesting schedule is the precise mechanism that quietly converts free money into conditional money. The $3,200 is sitting in your account right now. It looks identical to your own money on the screen. The two numbers are stacked together in the same total, the same font, the same color. But whether that employer portion is still there the day you leave depends entirely on a clock that started ticking the morning you were hired, a clock nobody pointed to during the onboarding session where they cheerfully told you to get the full match. Here is how that clock actually works, in numbers. A vesting schedule determines what percentage of the employer match you are legally entitled to keep, based on how long you have worked there. There are two common types, and the more aggressive of the two is the entire reason this video exists. The first type is graded vesting. Under a typical graded schedule, you keep nothing of the match if you leave during year 1, 20% if you leave after 2 years, 40% after 3, 60% after 4, 80% after 5, and the full 100% only after 6 years. Suppose you leave at the 3-year mark with $19,000 of accumulated employer match sitting in your account. You are 40% vested. You keep roughly $7,600. The remaining $11,400 is pulled back out of your account and returned to the employer the same day you leave. You watched that number on your statement for 3 years. You counted it as part of your savings. More than half of it was never actually yours. The second type is cliff vesting, and it is far more severe. Under a cliff schedule, you are 0% vested until you cross one specific date, often the 3-year mark, at which point you become 100% vested all at once. Before that date arrives, you are entitled to nothing at all. Leave one day before your 3-year anniversary and every dollar of employer match. The entire $3,200 a year, 3 full years of it, $9,600, vanishes from your account and returns to the company. Cross that same date by a single day, and all of it becomes permanently and irreversibly yours. The difference between keeping $9,600 and keeping zero can come down to the timing of a resignation letter by 48 hours. This is the mechanism in full. The money was deposited. It appeared on your statement. It grew with the market for years. And the entire time, it was resting on a conditional foundation you were never asked to read. The match was never simply a gift. It was an offer with a holding period attached, and the length of that holding period was written into a document you signed on your first day, while someone stood waiting to walk you to your desk. The structure underneath the vesting schedule is that it was engineered to accomplish something specific, and helping you retire comfortably is not the thing. A vesting schedule is a retention tool. Its function is to make leaving expensive. The longer you stay, because walking away would mean forfeiting unvested money, the more value the schedule delivers to the employer who designed it. You are reading the match as a benefit. The company built it as a restraint. And both things are true at once. Consider how this collides with the rest of your working life. The single fastest way to increase your income, as the data consistently and repeatedly shows, is to change jobs every 2 to 3 years. A new employer typically offers a raise of 10 to 20% over your current pay to move you, far more than the 3% annual raise you receive for staying loyal. But the cliff vesting schedule sits directly across that path like a toll gate. If 3 years of accumulated match is about to vest, leaving now to take a higher salary means forfeiting all of it. So, you run the math in your head and you stay. Maybe just a few more months. Maybe just until the date. You tell yourself it is only a little longer. That hesitation, that small and reasonable feeling delay, is the entire point of the design. The schedule was calibrated to make you pause at exactly the moment leaving would benefit you most. It converts your retirement match into a leash, and the leash is measured to the precise window when your market value is climbing fastest and a competitor is most likely to come looking for you. The company is not betting you will never leave. It is betting you will leave later, after it has extracted a few more years of below-market labor from you. And here is the quiet cost almost nobody calculates. Suppose staying an extra year to vest a match worth $8,000 causes you to turn down a job that pays $15,000 more per year. The match did not save you $8,000. It cost you $7,000 in the first year alone, and then it cost you the compounding value of that higher salary every year afterward, because the next raise builds on the number you refused to leave for. The free money was the bait. The decision it quietly shaped was the actual transaction. And the transaction was not in your favor. Here is what none of that prepared you for. The vesting schedule does not merely risk clawing the match back when you leave early. For the entire time the unvested balance sits in your account, it is working against your own negotiating position, even in the years you ultimately keep every dollar. Think about what the unvested balance does to you while it simply sits there growing. Every month, it gets larger. The cost of leaving rises with it, and you become measurably less willing to interview elsewhere, less willing to push hard for a raise, less willing to risk the relationship with the employer who is holding your unvested money. You begin to behave like someone with less leverage than you actually have, because a portion of your own compensation has been deliberately structured to make you behave that way. You self-restrain. Nobody has to restrain you. The leash does not need to be held if it has been built into the way you think about your own options. The numbers make this concrete. Workers who stay put average a 3% raise a year. Workers who move average 10 to 20%. Every year, the unvested balance keeps you from looking is a year you trade a 14% raise for a 3% one. And you do it to protect a sum the raise would replace in months. The employer is, in effect, paying you partly with an instrument that makes you easier to underpay. The match suppresses the exact two behaviors, leaving for more money and negotiating from strength that would otherwise drive your income upward. So, even in the best case, where you stay long enough to vest and keep every dollar of the $3,200 a year, the schedule already extracted its value from you, silently, in the raises you never chased and the offers you never opened because the clock was not finished yet. This is the part that should unsettle you. The version where you lose the match outright is not the worst outcome. The worst outcome is the one where you keep all of it, and it still cost you more than it ever paid in the years it kept you quiet. The money was real the whole time. The retention it purchased was worth more to them than the money it cost. You were not handed free money. You were rented, and the collateral was your own retirement account. The 401k match is not free money. It is deferred, conditional money with a holding period engineered to quietly change your behavior during the years you spend waiting to fully own it. 3 things you can do this week. Find your vesting schedule. It is sitting in your plan documents or your benefits portal, listed as either graded or cliff vesting with a percentage timeline attached. Most people have genuinely never read it. You cannot plan around a clock you have never looked at. And the people who lose the match are almost always the ones who never knew the clock existed in the first place. Calculate your unvested balance and your exact vesting date before you ever seriously consider a job change. Write down 2 numbers side by side. The first is the unvested match you would forfeit by leaving today. The second is the annual raise an outside offer would bring. If you are 3 months away from a cliff, the math may well tell you to wait those 3 months. But if you are 2 full years out, the unvested money should not anchor a single career decision, because the second number, repeated and compounded over a decade, almost always dwarfs the first. When an outside offer does come, ask the new employer to make you whole on the forfeited match. Strong candidates routinely negotiate a signing bonus sized to cover exactly what they are leaving behind. The unvested balance is only a wall if you agree to treat it as one. Your employer puts $3,200 into your account every year and calls it a gift. Somewhere right now, a new hire is being told the same thing across the same table, nodding, grateful, signing the document without once reading the clock buried inside it. The deposit is real. The gift was never the point.